Hello everyone, this is Srita Tuladhar from TU's Online Study, and today I'm going to give you my presentation on theories of global governance. And here I'm going to discuss about Marxism, Neo-marxism, dependency theory, and world system theory. And I would like to thank my friends Mr. Devinath Paskai, Ms. Jaya Podial, and Ms. Hira Shrestha for helping me to do this project. Marxist theory. The Marxist theory of international relations is based on the basic ideas of Karl Marx, who is one of the famous philosopher, political, and social thinker. He didn't propound any specific theory of international relations, but his scattered views about war, proletarian internationalism, world change, and world revolution have been adopted by some famous world leaders like Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin, and Mao Zedong. Theories based on Marxism focus not on the issues like war, peace, and security, but on uneven economic development, poverty, exploitation within society, and between states rising from the capitalist modes of production and exchange. The key assumptions of the theory are as follows. Economic factors play important role in international relations. They are root causes of struggles at the international level. There is class division of people in society, and they are bourgeoisies, those who owns the means of production, that is capital for production, and proletariat, who are workers who operate the task of productions. A clash between bourgeoisies and proletariat class would bring new social order in a society and ultimately the world order. Capitalists severely exploit workers for excessive profit all over the world. Thus, proletariat unite at the international level to bring about revolution to world. The proletariats win and they establish a socialist society which would be free from of classes. There is imperialism at the highest stage of capitalism. The world would suffer from different contradictions such as conflicts for occupying colonies and class struggles. This would lead to world revolution as a result of collapse of imperialism. Present international relation is dominated by the interest of capitalists. The proletariats from all over the world must rise above national interest to change international order. Only the establishment of classless socialist societies in every part of the world could lead towards lasting peace, as new international relations would be based on the equality of all people over the world. Thus, according to this theory, capitalism initially develops equally in all parts of the world. It facilitates industrial development in all parts of the world. But as capitalists severely exploit workers for excessive profit, there arises a situation of conflictual situation. Political revolutions led by working classes would overthrow the capitalist order and usher in a worldwide socialist society free from exploitation provided by capital structure. Marxist theory has been criticized on following ground. Liberal and non-realists have severely criticized the Marxist worldview of international relations by considering it to be unrealistic, impracticable, and utopian in the basic assumption. With the disintegration of Soviet Union, Marxist view of international relation completely lost its relevancy. It does not pay any attention to the major subject matters of international relations. Marxists put forward many wrong propositions regarding proletariat internationalism, world revolution, capitalism, leading to imperialism, empire building, collapse of capitalism, and so on. It is argued that imperialism existed even before the advent of capitalism in the world. The proletariat internationalism and the world revolution is based on the utopian assumption because in practice national identity and local bourgeoisie become more important than the proletariat of other states. Imperialism and colonization collapsed after the Second World War, but Capitalism strengthened again after that in many countries like United States, West Germany, Japan, France, Greece, South Korea, and so on. Neo-Marxist theory. In most of issues, classical Marxist and neo-Marxist or contemporary Marxist both have common views regarding the matters of international relations. Neo-Marxists have largely drawn their ideas from classical Marxists, but the past post-Second World War Marxists have made some significant changes, and this is known as neo-Marxism. Based on Cyprus economists and Peter Wilson, the key features of neo-Marxism are as capitalism does not develop equally in all society in the world because core, that is developed society, tend to have exploitative tendency over periphery, that is underdeveloped society. Capitalism is regarded as a mode exchange of goods and services in monetary profit in the world. Exploitation exists as there is dominant center and a dependent periphery. Globalization cannot generate equitable economic development for all people across the world because the peripheral societies remain underdeveloped due to the common interest of the global capitalist. There is unequal international exchange, which is the defining characteristics of global capitalism. Capitalism is a world system in terms of various components, parts. The only way for dependent developing countries to break out of this networking of domination and exploitation is to detach their relations completely with global capitalist system. The two prominent theories based on neo-Marxism are the dependency theory and world system theory. Dependency theory. This theory originated in Latin America in the 1940s, and in 1950s it was influential in many developing countries during the 1960s, and in 1970s. The core ideas of dependency theory can be summarized as follows. Capital accumulation and wealth in developing countries, that is peripheral societies, is not enough for overall development, so they have to depend on developed countries, that is core or capitalist societies, for their development. They have to depend on foreign direct investments. The development of developing societies, that is third world countries, depends on many internal and external conditions, and government of these countries have little control over such conditions. Developed countries, that is capitalist, plunder developing countries, that is pre-capitalist economies, by extracting resources but giving nothing in return. The areas which are being exploited by core are left in worse state than they were before. The basic term of trade, multinational corporations, and global institutions promote dependency relationship of developing countries with developed countries. As a result, development is hindered rather than helped. Therefore, the underdeveloped third world countries must detach themselves from world capitalist economy, though it is difficult because of existence of the elite classes within the periphery. This theory emphasizes the unfair and exploitative nature of relationship between the world's developed countries and developing countries, and concludes that rich capitalist countries use their economic power to control over weaker countries aimed at maintaining dependency relationship with them. This theory largely ignores the internal conditions of developing countries and obstruction to their development, such as corruption, government mismanagement, and nepotism. It is difficult to answer whether the dependency is the cause of socio-economic backwardness or effect of this condition. Dependency theory focuses only on the core periphery types of relationships between states and ignores other types of relationship, such as partnership among the states. Economically, successful countries such as Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, South Korea, and Malaysia based on export created biggest challenge to this theory. The world system theory. This theory is based on neo-Marxism and dependency theory, which was developed to analyze the post-colonial international order. Post-colonial world capitalist system is divided into core. It is the advanced developed society which represents the capitalist class or owning class. It's the rich industrial regions of the world. Semi-periphery. It is not as advanced as core but ahead of the periphery in terms of wealth, capital accumulation and economic development where some industrial basis has been built. Periphery. Its vast poor third world regions which represents mainly the non-owning class. It supplies raw materials and cheap labors to core but are often neglected. Some tenets of world system theory are as follows. Core dominates over the periphery and semi-periphery by means of its economic strength in order to control the world system. The class struggle in the world would take place in between the core and the periphery, including semi-periphery. There is upward and downward mobility among the core, the periphery, and semi-periphery. For example, it is possible for a periphery to move upward to become a semi-periphery. Criticisms to world system theory are as follows. According to realists and liberals, capitalists of any region may not share the same class interest. The class may be formed not only on the basis of economic base, but also on the basis of political power as well as social and cultural factors. It is very difficult to define and determine the exploitation of periphery and semi-periphery regions by the core as mentioned by world system theory. The basic idea of dependency and world system theory is that the world is divided between economically developed countries and third world countries. Both theories explain how capitalist nature of global system provides opportunities and creates a favorable environment to exploit over peripheral states. Thus, matters of global governance are determined by developed countries as they use their huge economic resources and global system in order to pursue their economic interest at the expenses of less developed countries. So it was pleasure for me to share my knowledge via a Tu's online study channel. More of the educational videos are on the way, so do press like button, share button and subscribe button. And do leave your valuable comments in comment box so that it would help us to improve our weakness and maintain better sides of us. So, thank you.